Well, Dave, quarter of a century at Blundell Park in total, and the news broke that you're leaving us, Dave. So, what was your emotions throughout the whole process?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously been here a long time, so thoroughly enjoyed my time playing and working the commercial side of things. And yeah, it's been an honour and a privilege to have worked here. We had some great times back in the sort of the late '90s and early 2000s, and then obviously moved on to this side of things back in 2003, I think it was. And yeah, thoroughly enjoyed my time, and thank everybody who supported us all along the way.
Can you just remind the fans for the circumstances for you leaving the club?
Just there's a few things, I like to spend a bit more time with the family. I think working at a football club is all encompassing. Took a long time to come to that decision, but once I decided that my time was at an end, I spoke to Debbie, and she was good as gold, and sort of said, was there not another job that you could maybe see yourself doing within the club and pass on some of your football knowledge that's been sort of with me for 40 years. I said no. I said I think it's time that I sort of spent a bit more time at home. So yeah, now I've been working closely with Jo and trying to pass on some insight into that, and she's great, and I wish her all the best and hope that people continue to support the club like they've supported us all these years.
Can you believe when you made your debut against Brentford and you scored that absolute cracker of a goal? I was here for that, Dave. That you'd still be working at the club
No,
so long after.
no, not at all. I mean, the people have been so welcoming. It's like 1998, January 98 I signed. I think we moved up as a family in March 98. You score that goal on your debut. I think we won 4-0.
That's right.
Yeah, against Brentford. And went back home and sort of like talked through Belinda what we were going to do and everything. And yeah, moved up a couple of months later. So yeah, didn't envisage that it would be this long. It was always thought, well, maybe we go back to the Midlands, but I don't know. It just felt like home from day one. We had a year where I moved to Swansea to play for them, but then came back here rather than go back to the Midlands. So yeah, and luckily there was a job available as I came back, and I came as Tony's assistant back in 2003, I think it was, and then took over in 2006. So it's all sort of fitted in nicely all along the way, and like I said, it's been a fantastic journey.
And what a season that first season was as well. The double Wembley appearance at the end, and you played a crucial part in those games in the playoffs. You scored in the away game, the 1-1 game at Craven Cottage against Fulham, and then we had the second leg here 1-0. And I remember as well, Dave, in the final, the Auto Windscreens final, you made a really crucial tackle on Mark Steen when I think it was 1-1. And so you played a real big part as well in the history of Grimsby Town. You were a big figure.
Yeah, I mean, I remember the goal at Fulham. I sort of took a chance and read that the fullback was just going to pass it back to the centre half. Centre half had turned off, and basically I nipped in and took a swing at it with my right foot, and it bobbled in the corner. So that gave us the draw down there, and then Kev Donovan scored up here, and we were off again to Wembley. But yeah, the Mark Steen tackle, I probably should have. Looking back, I let him run too far. I probably should have fouled him. I shouldn't say that, but probably should have fouled him a bit earlier and not slid in at the last minute to send it out for a corner. But great memories. The two Wembley appearances in the space of a few weeks back in 1998 was unbelievable. I was 30 then, and you thought that going to Wembley maybe passed you by, but to go twice and win twice was phenomenal. Great set of lads, and like I say, great memories.
Yeah, and fully validated as well to make the move to Grimsby. What was it about Alan Buckley that you liked playing for so much? Because he was obviously your boss at West Brom as well.
Yeah, for me it was total football. You knew exactly what you were going to do, what was going to be asked of you, and it was all football. So I think at the time I was out of favour at West Brom. So I was playing when Alan left West Brom. So I thought, yeah, we'll come and play, and then. The rest is history, as they say. It just settled in really, really well. Made some lovely friends in the close that we first moved into, and some of those are still good friends now. So, yeah, it's just all seemed to fall into place fantastically.
And working in the commercial department, just explain, how did you find yourself falling into that after you retired from football?
Yeah, I'd been on a few courses actually selling cars for BMW, and then I was back here working at Volkswagen, and I got a phone call saying that Tim was leaving. and would I come for an interview? So I came for an interview to be Tony Richardson's assistant, and yeah, I think it was just before Christmas 2003, and I think Ian and Steve had done the programme, which meant I was off the hook for the Christmas period, so I was eased in a little bit, and then because you'd only been away just over a year, it fitted nicely, and and then learnt the ropes from the guys that have been there for many years, and some of them are still there now, and like I say, that was one of the hardest things to tell them that I was going to leave. But yeah, just been great, just been fantastic.
And you've worked for the club in testing times as well, particularly in the commercial department. When you think about the years in non-league, and the crowds were quite low, and I suppose the interest in the area wasn't as much as it is these days.
Yeah, I mean, credit to the local community and local businesses. They stuck by the club through tough times, I would say. We were in the National League for 6 years, and I can only thank them, from on the club's behalf, to say you were brilliant, and continue to do so now, please, as we move forward and hopefully upwards into maybe League One. So yes, it was tough, but yeah, like I say, the people were brilliant.
And how much has this club changed, Dave, in the last 25 years or so?
People come and people go, and yeah, it's still the core of the club is still the same. The support, a lot of the supporters that you meet over a period of time, maybe a few grey hairs more, but the core of the place is the same. So yes, it's changed. Pitch is a bit better now than it was maybe when I was playing, and yeah, there's a lot more, I think, media attention now because of like Sky TV and like Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. There's a lot more focus on the players than maybe there was in our day. So you see that as an evolving sort of concept all the way through football, if you like. But ostensibly, the fans are still at the pontoon, shouting and giving it your all to try and get the lads to play well. And yeah, it's just been a great place to play and a great place to work.
Are there any games here at Blundell Park that stick out for you, Dave, or even the ones away?
The 5-1 win against West Brom was enjoyable. I managed to score a deflected goal and celebrate, and I don't normally celebrate like I did, but for whatever reason I ended up standing in front of this stand here, and yeah. Because
that was a big one, wasn't it? Because Grovesy scored. They absolutely destroyed her. I think Richard Snaker's got their consolation, didn't he? The free kick. I remember the game. Yeah. And yeah, it was an absolutely devastating performance.
Yeah, I think we were 4-0 up at half-time, something like that. There was a lot of us there who'd left West Brom, and so I think Stacey was playing, Kev Donovan, Grovesy, myself. Not sure if anybody else would have been playing that day, but yeah, there was a lot of us with a point to prove, shall we say. I think Lee Ashcroft played as well. So yeah, just a great day, a great game, and yeah, one that will go down. I think the 2 Wembley appearances were fantastic. The win away at Burnley to get to Wembley for the first time was a great night. I can tell you a little story. We went to that game and we stopped in a hotel just outside Burnley city centre. Obviously, you're in the hotel room before the game. I'm getting ready. Goes into the wardrobe to get my suit out. Went to get my trousers. Looked at the bottom of the wardrobe. They're not there. I was like, no. So I had to run from the hotel into Burnley, find a menswear shop. They'll do. Pair of black trousers straight on. They were a little bit long, and then changed and got ready for the game. Bucko never knew.
That's great. And where does Grimsby lie in your career, Dave? Because a lot of people won't realise you played top flight football, weren't you? And you was in part of the squad. I don't think you played, but the FA Cup winning squad for Coventry City in the late 80s. And you were in England under 21 as well. Yeah. But I think a lot of people don't realise that before you came to Grimsby. But where does Grimsby lie in your career?
I mean, I came to Grimsby when I was nearly 30. So obviously started at Coventry. I had some great memories there. I was there when they won the cup. I was like a first-year apprentice then, so I wasn't first-year pro. Sorry, so I was in the reserves. I wasn't in the youth team. I wasn't in the first team. I was sort of in between. Made my debut the year later. Or the season later, and yeah, I had a fantastic time there with some great players like Cyril Regis, David Speedy, and managed to play 10 times for England under 21s, and those were like, I don't know, probably I was playing my best football at that time. A few injuries then, and yeah, maybe you don't have that zip of pace that you had when you were sort of like 20, 21, and then went on to Birmingham and West Brom, and then came here. But the memories from here, you know, you didn't expect it to be as fantastic as it was. We, you know, going to Wembley within 4 months of coming, and it was like, wow. And then I think we had a few great seasons then in the Championship where we held our own, and really great part of my time was here. You know, you had good times at Birmingham with Terry Cooper, good times at West Brom with Alan and Ray Harford, great times at Coventry as well with John Sillett. So there's various points in your career that have been fantastic. You know, as with football, it's up and down a little bit, but yeah, you could pick out lots of, you know, I've made my debut at Old Trafford and little things like that. It was just, yeah, fantastic times, and I'm privileged to have done that.
And what would your message be to the Grimsby Town fans who I think you're going to miss? They're going to miss you wandering around on a match day in your suit.
Yeah. I'll just say thank you. You know, massive thanks for sort of taking you into your heart, really.
Thanks, Dave. Thanks for everything.
No problem.